They're all Republicans. We're not anti-woke. There's no anti-woke. There's like a ton of left-wing comics at the Mothership. It's like that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
He seems to be in denial about the fact that he and his army of so-called healthy fellas are, in reality, just anti-woke comics. That's their entire identity now. So for Rogan to sit there and pretend like he isn't anti-woke might be the funniest thing he's ever said.
Hi everyone, JJ here. Welcome back. Well, the Rogansphere, this group of comedians that grouped around Joe Rogan in Austin, seems to be crumbling. Even Joe is talking about not being anti-woke, which he's been talking about for years. What is going on? It seems to be collapsing with some criticism, some heavy criticism that they've had lately. Is the anti-woke comedy scene collapsing? Let's get into it.
It's almost like he forgot that there are literally thousands of hours of him ranting about this exact thing online. So when Rogan plays dumb now, acting like he isn't part of the whole anti-woke crusade, it's laughable.
What do you think the Austin shelf life is going to be?
Okay, so this is Marc Maron. He's one of the veteran comedians. He had the WTF podcast for many years, which he's stopped now. He's got a special on, I think it's Netflix. I haven't seen it yet, but he really lays into Rogan and the whole Rogansphere here. And Joe obviously saw this criticism. Mark was on a number of podcasts. And as American Redact pointed out there, Joe is definitely taking notice of this. But the criticism, I think, is valid here. I think Mark really articulates it well.
Well, I don't know. Like, I think that it's so effectively tribalized at this point. It really comes down to material. I mean, at what point, it's like whatever they represented in terms of policy. And it's not a stretch. It's like they won. Trans people are frightened. They have no ability to get health care anymore. And they're afraid of being alive and have no freedom left. So that's done. When do you stop with the jokes? And like immigrants, okay, well, they're being ripped away from their homes, and they're all terrified, and okay, so that's done. When do you stop with the jokes?
Right.
I mean, it's one thing to pick on the vulnerable and the marginalized, but I mean, they're down.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
they're down.
Why do you got to keep hitting them unless you're a hack? Now, there's a question.
Wow, Mark.
He comes in swinging.
Yeah.
He is coming in swinging, and there's more. We're only just getting started here, but I really like the point he's making. You know, the whole anti-woke thing when Rogan started it. You know, he said, you can't say this, you can't say that, including the word retarded, which now they're kind of saying in every act. And his Mothership in Austin, there's a group of comics there who definitely are anti-woke, although he denies it. We all know the group of comics there. We'll see some of them here that's talked about. And Mark's point here about kicking people when they're down, I mean, to begin with, it's picking on people that are marginalized anyway, so it's punching down. I mean, classically, traditionally, good comedy's punching up, right? Like most of my videos are about Elon and Tesla, Elon Musk, literally the richest person in the world. So I have no problem trying to punch up their heavy criticism, even though he's got so many fans and sycophants. And comedians do this too. They're punching up usually. If you look at the great comedians in history, they're talking about powerful people, criticizing them, but these are punching down. And now, you know, Donald Trump's been elected. We've got this anti-woke regime, and these people were used by Donald Trump, I think. There's literally a picture of Rogan at the inauguration and hugging Trump. And for him to say that that's not the case, that he wasn't part of it, is kind of ridiculous at this point. So, and now he's going back on it. Maybe he sees that they're in a position where they're punching down, and it's just not funny.
Seeing like Jeselnik having an issue with people like Tony Hinchcliffe.
Okay, they're talking about Anthony Jeselnik there, which we'll hear from later, another comedian who has been criticizing the Rogansphere as well.
He's saying uses profanity or just shock value comedy. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, at this point, it's lazy and sloppy and hackneyed. You know, to be in a fucking club where, you know, I'm walking down the hall at the comedy club, at the Comedy Store, and, you know, in one room, someone's doing their bit about trans people, and then I get down the hall and there's someone on stage going, well, I guess I got to do my bit about trans people. Like, no, you don't. You don't. It's hack now. I mean, you know, you guys got the freedom you wanted. You can now say whatever you want. They're defeated. Their rights have been denied. The policies that you guys encouraged with your stupid material are now policy. And now, like, you know, half the people under the umbrella of anti-woke, we've lost a tremendous amount of democratic-leaning ideas and movements. So whether they knew it or not, that's what they were spearheading. So now it's reality, and you want to still keep kicking them?
Yeah, I mean, they did know it. I think they knew it. It was this movement, the MAGA movement. They went with the trend, and to deny that they did, as that guy said, there are thousands of hours of Joe talking about it day after day. Now that they've won, it just seems actually oppressive.
I don't know that the comedians have had that much power.
Are you fucking out of your mind?
No, I'm being serious.
Joe Rogan. I'm not gonna.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
You know, you can't separate. Like, if the movement is like, you know, we're being censored. No, you're not. You're not. There's no constitutional censorship issue with your free speech. You say things, and in a democratic shit show of an environment, you know, like Twitter or whatever, there's cultural pushback. And I'm not saying that it wasn't. It was pretty bad in terms of, you know, people getting canceled and stuff, and I agree that was an issue, but that's a specific issue. To frame it as some sort of free speech problem was a misdirect. It wasn't. It wasn't a free speech problem. It was that people were getting cultural pushback. That is not a constitutional issue. No one was being put in jail for saying anything. That's a free speech issue.
Yeah, so what do you think about this, by the way? Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Do you think that it has gone too far? It was never really a free speech issue. People could say stuff that was just cultural pushback. It wasn't like people were being thrown in jail. And ironically, there is more censorship going on with Trump is actually suing media organizations to shut them up. And, you know, this chilling effect, even though the rhetoric is the opposite of that.
Problem is you're going to start talking about anti-woke, and that's going to be your point of view. That's going to be your ideological, you know, grounding for what you do. Okay, that's fine, but why does it have to be the same four fucking things? You know, it's like they talk about the same shit, and I don't know a better definition of hack. I mean, after a certain point, it's like, you know, what juice does the word retard really have? How much shit do you have to give trans people? You know, what is your big problem with gay people? What's your big problem with women? It's like, what is this, the fucking 80s again? And it's so, to me, the problem is that language evolves. Okay, we don't use the word chink anymore. Well, maybe some of them do. You don't use the word oriental anymore. You know, you don't use the word colored anymore. Is that, you know, in a democratic world, people learn to treat other people with respect, communities, and live with it. I think when you talk about Jeselnik, he's just saying that, isn't there a creativity workaround that could be funny without creating this juice that just comes from using words that used to be kind of triggering and are less now because the dominant cultural force is now slightly fascistic and leaning towards alienating those voices. So now that we've crossed that hump into what we are now, aren't you just kicking someone when they're down and just being a hack? Because there is no real progressive pushback anymore. You know, they've won, right? So that side has won. They've won culture, and they've won the presidency, and now you have a lot of frightened people that believe in what was once democracy in terms of respecting all types of people. That's kind of gone. So do you continue along that track of like being the victim of something, some liberal conspiracy, when it clearly is over? I don't know.
Yeah, so I think he's right there. That's, you know, I was talking about punching down when people have actually, you know, lost their rights, literally lost their rights. And he talks about slightly fascistic. I mean, I'd argue that it's more than slightly and getting more like that, and perhaps why this criticism is happening. And Joe Rogan is actually seeing that. Perhaps he's seeing, perhaps we did go too far there and we've contributed to what is going on, to this authoritarian environment that's developing, as he mentioned there, with immigrants, with trans people who are scared and frightened, and they have actually had so much pushback that it's dangerous.
My understanding of what he was saying was less about politics and where we are as a culture and society right now, and more about the art of comedy. And to him, it's not comedy just to say something shocking.
That's
But
right. It's a workaround.
Yeah.
You know, be more creative.
Yeah.
Don't be a hack.
But I hate people complaining about cancel culture.
Okay, so this is Anthony Jeselnik. This is a while ago, so he's been talking about this for quite some time, actually, and he has comedy specials as well. And he is speaking in a similar way to Marc Maron.
It's the second comedy boom. It's not going anywhere. People are making more money than ever before. And Dave Chappelle, who's won every award in the world, is complaining that cancel culture is making his job harder. It's like, your job shouldn't be easy. Right. If you're going to make that much fucking money, like, hey, maybe it should be a little hard. You know, I got no issue with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point too. And even, you know, Joe Rogan, not even Joe Rogan, but in that video, that American Redact video, I think he mentions that Rogan's a billionaire. I don't know if he is, but maybe close to that. So these are very powerful people punching down, very rich and powerful people punching down to the marginalized in society, and it's starting to really look just mean, you know, just mean.
Love that line. You're a comedian. Do your job. It's just so perfect.
I think it's kind of groupthink, and I'm surprised that I'm attacked by saying cancel culture is not a thing. That people that just not parroting what every other comic is saying would somehow be seen as treasonous and not as an individual. Like, I have my own thoughts.
Right,
I don't
exactly.
and I would be way more successful. And I'd have way more money if I did complain about cancel culture. If I went the other way that a lot of these guys go. And I think it's stupid, and I'm happy to fight about it.
Yeah.
I think it's good for comedy when two comics are at odds or talking shit on each other. I think it's good for the art form.
Yeah,
but now everyone's got to be friends.
Right.
You've got to worry about what Joe thinks about these things.
Yeah.
You know, and have Joe mediate fights.
Yeah, so he's talking about the Rogansphere there, that you know, Joe has a lot of power there. He's got a lot of sycophants himself, like Elon Musk does. He's very wealthy. If he brings people into the circle there, into the club, literally to his comedy club, he can dictate what's going on. You have to bow down to Joe. You can't argue with him. In fact, just the other day, somebody did argue back with him, and he got really angry, and it just looked really bad for him doing that. It's like, you have to bow down to the king, the comedy king, and he's not even very funny. He's a podcaster. He has had a successful podcast, but is he really that funny?
So ironic is that if you're not in step with every aspect of what they're talking about, then they kick you out. Well, how anti-comedy is that?
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Because you don't think the way we all think.
Right.
It's like, how is that?
Yes, exactly.
Shouldn't I be celebrated for thinking differently?
Exactly.
Isn't that the point of comedy? Is to think differently from everyone else?
And now it's gotten so bad and hacked to the point where even some of their peers are exhausted by it. Like when Shane Gillis openly joked about this nonstop slur parade on the podcast he does with Matt McCusker.
Comedy movies are back.
True.
In a big way.
Pendulum swung.
Pendulum swung.
Pendulum's fully swung.
Maybe too far. Head down to the mothership, you go, oop.
Yeah.
Pendulum's maybe swung a little too far. Not everyone has to say it.
True.
Every single set.
So even the comics who made their name tiptoeing the line of offensive comedy are rolling their eyes at how lazy and hack it's all gotten. But now, as soon as Maron officially called them out for it, suddenly this whole crew goes into denial mode.
Okay, what do you think about this? They're in denial that they were ever anti-woke, or at least Joe Rogan is starting to say that, although he slips back into it. I mean, I don't even look at his stuff. I see clips of his stuff. I'm not going to sit there for 3 hours listening to him go on about the same issues all the time, the same, like, 4 things. It's getting boring, and the comedy's getting boring, and it's getting mean, just seems mean, unfunny. What do you think about this? Let me know in the comments. And right now, I'm going to put a related video on screen. Do go and see that now if you want to. And also subscribing. Do subscribe if you want to get more of these kinds of videos. I'll do some about comedy every now and then. I do enjoy that. Anyway, thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one.